Hello, loyal subjects! It's been a while. It's been a while. What can I say? Times have been busy. You know how it is. Today we are going to be discussing The Iron Trial by Cassandra Clare and Holly Black, the first book in their new middle grade series, Magisterium. Can we just take a moment to appreciate this cover? I mean, for real though, it's just beautiful. It feels so nice, I just like touching it. It's awesome. So, The Iron Trial. This book has been getting a bit of attention, mainly because people are comparing it to Harry Potter. Now, it is true that there are some similarities between the two books, but this is definitely its own story, and really the only thing that you can compare them is that it's a school where they learn magic. But seriously, read this book. It's really good. I enjoyed it. The story follows a 12-year-old boy named Callum Hunt, and through his whole life he has been told that he is a magician and that he should stay away from the magic school Magisterium for unknown reasons. Just that they are really, really bad and that they're the reason Cal's mum is dead. So, Cal tries his hardest to fail the test to get into the school called the Iron Trial, and he ends up doing some spectacular things, none of which are really that great for him, and he ends up going to the school. And basically it's about him learning about magic and making some friends and fighting the dark wizard mages of the world and stuff. That's all I'm gonna really say for the non-spoilery part. So I'm just gonna say that you should go read this, come back, we can talk about it and discuss. Okay? Goodbye. So The Iron Trial. I was so looking forward to this book when it came out, but I was also reserved at the same time. For one thing, both of these authors are authors that I love, but I haven't read any middle grade by Holly Black, and this is Cassie's first exploration outside of the Shadowhunter world. And so I thought, well, it's not possibly going to be as good as like the Mortal Instruments or the Infernal Devices, so, you know, and it's not that great, but it's only the first book, so let's just see where it goes. Also, since this is a middle grade book as opposed to a young adult book, I thought maybe they were going to write it so that it was dumbed down a little bit, or that it wasn't going to have the same sense of humour that it does, and it's not. It doesn't have quite the hilarity that her other books do, same with Holly. For one thing, obviously they can't make any sexual or adult-like jokes in a book that is aimed towards children. And the first chapter, I was a bit weary, I was reading through it and I'm just like, I don't know if I like this. But you just gotta get over that. Because it's true the writing style is a bit different, but that doesn't mean that it isn't just as good as all of their other books. So getting that out of the way, the world of Magisterium. The magic system in this book is one that we've seen a few times before. There are the 4 elements, earth, water, fire and air, and then there's this 5th mysterious element called chaos, which is like wielding the darkness of the world and killing people with it. And my first thought when this whole darkness thing was being explained was that this has got something to do with Cal, obviously. Because that prologue was really eerie and shocking. And the whole book we're asking ourselves, what is Cal? And Cal is asking himself this as well. Why would his mother use her last dying breaths and moments to carve a message into the ice for Alistair to kill him? Obviously something isn't right. Then, as we're learning more about the magic and that the enemy can control people as well as like animals and things with chaos and they don't know about it, my first thought was Cal was chaos ridden, that he was being controlled by the enemy without his knowledge of it. Then we get more into the story and we find out more things about what actually happened in the past, because these mages don't really like to talk about what happened in this last war. Then we find out there was this girl called Verity Torres who was this thing called a Macaw, which was a mage that could control the chaos. Then I thought, maybe that's what Cal is. Maybe he's this Macaw person and he's going to be like the big hero or something. But then that all got flipped around and it turns out Aaron is the Macaw. Because that was the thing that bothered me while I was reading this. I thought that this kid in the middle here was Cal, because the main character is who stands in the middle. Then he's describing himself with like black hair and grey eyes and I'm like, hold on, why is Cal standing on the side? He's the main character. He should be standing in the middle. So that threw me off a bit even more. The relationship between Cal, Aaron and Tamara was pretty nice to watch develop, because they're all a bit distant from each other at the start and they're kind of forced into this group. We had some Naruto feelings going on over there. And I didn't really like Tamara at the start, but the more we actually get to know them, the cooler it is. But seeing their friendship blossom and develop and they start sticking up for each other, when Tamara dumped her pudding on Jasper's head after he insulted Cal about his leg, that was pretty bitchin'. I was like, fuck yeah, take that, kid. So as I said before, there's this whole mysterious element to the book, and this whole build-up towards the climax at the end, we're thinking, what is going to happen? Are we going to find out what Cal is in this book? Everybody's trying to keep it a secret from him, and then all hell goes to loose because Aaron, who is now the big hero of this world, has been kidnapped. I was like, why would you go by yourself? That's rule number 1. Go in pairs. Use the buddy system. Have you learned nothing? So we find this mysterious warehouse where Aaron is being kept. Find out Drew is actually a little bitch and has been leading them on this whole time, making them think he was just some little weakling. We find out that Cal, who I kept thinking was a servant for the enemy, is actually the enemy. He is Constantine Madden. That man's soul is in his body. This isn't just some Voldemort situation where a little bit of his soul is in the body. No. The whole essence of the guy the whole mage world is at war with is in Cal's body. What the flying fuck are we gonna do now? Obviously, we know that that isn't all completely true. We know that not all of Cal's essence has been booted out of his body. Otherwise, we wouldn't have this whole situation where Cal doesn't actually know he's Constantine Madden, because if this isn't Constantine talking, then who is? It has to be Cal. So that's a load of horse shit, Master Joseph. Cal is a person. He exists. Your spell gone done fucked up is what's wrong. I so wanted Cal to tell just one person about his problem, because now this is going to be something that's going to carry on through the next book, and it's like people are going to feel betrayed and all that. Not necessarily Master Rufus. I just maybe wanted him to tell Aaron or Tamara. But I can understand why he would want to keep that on the DL. So those are those ones sorted, but there's still a lot of unanswered questions rolling around in here. Like, why does Alistair hate the mages so much? We know, obviously, he'd have some resentment because his wife was killed in the war, but people die in wars all the time. So he can't just hate the mages for that. And he seems to specifically have some beef with Master Rufus. So what's going on there? I don't know. This is going to be a 5-book series, so we've still got plenty of books left to answer all of these questions. The next book is called The Copper Gauntlet, and that's going to come out September next year, so I'm going to be anticipating that one. I'm going to have to wait a year for all of these books. It's gonna take so freaking long. I have to say, even though I was kind of underestimating Holly and Cassie, thinking that this was just gonna be a little side project for both of them while they work on their actual books, I was wrong. And I'm glad to be wrong. This is a project that has obviously taken a lot of time and thinking on both authors' parts. And I think that you should all go pick it up, because if you like magic, adventure, fun, mystery, all those awesome things that cook together, make a great story, then you are going to enjoy The Iron Trail. And that is basically all I have to say for this book. I will see you next time. For people who are wondering if I'm going to make a review for Sun, I did read the book and I did film a review, but then when I was exporting the file onto my computer, it got all corrupted and I don't want to talk about it. So I'm sorry, but that is not going to be a thing. Anyways, I will see you next time for whatever it is that I'm gonna do next. Goodbye! Kapoo!